Hello, explorers! I thought that it would be fun to call you guys explorers today because I'm wearing my Wilderness Explorers shirt, and because today we're talking about another nature topic. Specifically, I wanted to follow up my 2020 Conservation Heroes, Disney Conservation Heroes video with a general overview of the Disney Conservation Fund and what all they do. So let's get started. They started in 1995, which was when they awarded their first Disney Conservation Funds. Just a couple years later, in 98, Animal Kingdom was opened, and obviously a big theme in Animal Kingdom is conservation and loving and caring for animals and for the planet. And this increased their ability to educate people about the planet, and also gave them a great opportunity to encourage guests to donate to the Disney Conservation Fund. So I don't know if this is still something that you can do, but when Animal Kingdom first opened, in every single shop you had the option to increase the amount you were spending in order to fund additional money to the Disney Conservation Fund. And then just a few years later, in 2004, the first Disney Conservation Heroes Award was given out. And so if you missed my last video, make sure to check that out and see what my thoughts were on the 2020 Conservation Heroes. And then in 2009, the first Disney nature film. So the Disney company has made other nature and animal related films dating back even to like Walt's time. That was like one of the first things they did was nature documentaries, which I do hope to do another video going into a deep dive of all of the different like nature related videos or movies that the Disney company has done over the years. But specifically in 2009, they launched the Disney Nature line with Disney Nature Earth, and in conjunction with that film release in theaters, a portion of the proceeds from those theater tickets went to the Nature Conservancy and helped fund planting trees in the Brazilian rainforests. We remember when you went to go see Disney cartoon movies, sometimes they'd be advertising the latest Disney nature film, and they always made a point to talk about how some of the proceeds would go to some kind of charitable organization, whether it be the Nature Conservancy or the World Wildlife Fund, or all sorts of other nature and environment related charitable organizations. And then in 2012, they held their first Kids and Nature Summit, which I'm not that familiar with that program. And then in 2019, in conjunction with the release of the live-action Lion King film, they collaborated with the Lion Recovery Fund. So I mentioned Disney Nature, but the live-action Lion King, as far as I can tell, was the first time they did this kind of campaign with an animated or live action movie that was not directly under the Disney Nature brand. And one of my very first videos that I ever made was talking about the Lion Recovery Fund. And then, of course, in 2020, they celebrated their 25th anniversary. So the main directive of the Disney Conservation Fund are the yearly Disney Conservation Fund grants. And so these are grants that are nominated or awarded to charitable organizations based on very strict guidelines. And so they've got a whole document outlining what they're looking for, but only certain types of organizations can even apply to the fund. But in order to be considered, your organization does have to be verified via TechSoup and NGO Source. So that's just to make sure that anybody that they could be potentially funding is a legitimate nonprofit organization that isn't just going to pocket the money and run. They're verified organizations that have at least showed that they are spending their money on what they say they're spending their money on. Your project also needs to be focused on one of their key regions or on one of their key species. And so they have a whole list of the countries or regions in the world that they are prioritizing, as well as specific species that they are focusing on. It is also important to note that they will only fund projects that are done in the field. So it can't be any kind of research that's done in a lab. And then also, in addition to needing to be a program project that is taking place in the field or ex situ, it also must address and engage relevant stakeholders and the community. So you can't just do a project for the sake of the animals or for the environment. You also need to show that you are taking into account the people that are going to be affected by your project as well. And so the three primary components that they are focused on in their grants are scientific investigation, education, and empowering communities and partners to become actively involved in protecting wildlife and habitat. In addition to this, if you are a program that has received grants from the Disney Conservation Fund for 10 or more years, they have even more additional requirements from you in order to be considered to be funded. And these requirements focus on impact, storytelling, and inspiration for Disney employees. I will also note that there is a maximum of $50,000 per project to be funded over a period of 2 years. The grantees, once they're funded, are required to report a mid-term report, a final report, and they must report on any extensions or budget reallocations. And for every project that is funded, a Disney conservationist is assigned to work with the grantee, and they state that this conservationist is there to figure out where Disney expertise could be applied. The Disney Conservation Fund also supports the International Fund for Animal Welfare for Emergency Disaster and Relief. I think that just means that they give money to the International Fund for Animal Welfare, but I'm not positive. There are also specific concerns for zoos and aquariums that are part of the Association for Zoos and Aquariums or the World Association of Zoos and Aquariums. So if you are part of one of these accredited institutions, you can apply for a Disney Conservation Fund grant, but only if your research is being done in the field. So it can't be any research that's being done in the aquarium or in the zoo. And also, the applicant can't be a curator, a veterinarian, or a supervisor in charge of captive collection. So they can't be somebody that works directly with the animals that are being housed in the zoo or the aquarium. Those people can, however, get grants through the AZA, the Association for Zoos and Aquariums, conservation grants directly, and Disney does note that they do contribute to that fund financially every year. Disney Conservation Fund also includes everybody on Team Wildlife, and you're gonna hear Team Wildlife mentioned here and there. I found it kind of difficult to find exactly who's defined as Team Wildlife. I'm not sure whether it includes the Animal Kingdom animal care people or the people at Seas with Nemo and Friends. I don't know if it includes any of those people that are day-to-day taking care of those animals, but it does include people that work with, say, the purple martins or the turtles on Vero Beach in Florida. All I could find was that the directive of Team Wildlife is to inspire conservation actions and collaborate globally to share expertise and drive programs to positively impact wildlife and habitats. So I don't know if these are the people that are the conservation specialists that are deployed, I don't know if that's the right word, that are assigned to specific projects that were funded by Disney Conservation Fund grants. They also provide free educational materials to be used at home and in the classroom. So on their website, they have a whole bunch of PDFs that have educational activities. There are activity packets that focus on specific conservation or environmental topics. There's general Disney-inspired ones as well as specific movie-inspired ones. They are definitely targeted towards family fun, so I'm sure these were probably a great resource for a lot of families and still are during the pandemic to keep kiddos entertained, but also in a way that educates kids. They looked like a lot of fun. They also produce educational materials available for free for use in classrooms. It's got full lesson plans in them, as well as activity packets. I thought it was cool that they also have some of these packets available in Spanish, and they are targeted towards grades 2 to 6. One other thing I wanted to mention, which wasn't specifically listed anywhere on the Disney Conservation Fund website, but I was made aware of it through their social media channels. Specifically in the year 2020, they announced a new collaboration, and that is with the organization Outdoor Afro. I was already aware of the organization before I read about it on the Disney Conservation Fund. I think it's a really cool organization, and I think they're doing really great things, and I think it's even better that Disney, with their big money, is funding something like that. So I would love to see them collaborating with more organizations like that in the future, and I also looked forward to seeing what the 2021 grantees for the Disney Conservation Fund will be, and so on and so forth. So please like and subscribe if you liked this video. Comment down below what is something you found interesting about the Disney Conservation Fund. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.